This is the Seahawkers podcast, live post-game reaction show. I'm your host, Brandon Schultz. I'm joined by my good buddy, Adam Emmerich. Adam, our Seahawks have lost to the stupid Bucs behind a stupid defensive performance that allowed the Bucs to score 38 freaking points, including a game-winning field goal after an infuriating interception. How are you holding up after this one, bud?
Man, it's interesting because I think throughout the last half of the fourth quarter, the narrative changed about 3 or 4 times in terms of, who's going to be a hero here, who's going to win and lose, who's this on. And it's interesting for sure. But I think at the top of the leaderboard here of what the hell happened there is the defense in third down. Bucs were 7 up for 11 on third down, including 3 third and 10 plus, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15 conversions on their first 3 touchdown drives. And that's the difference in the game. The conversation is going to go to Sam at some point with what happened at the end of the game there and everything like that. And we will get to that. But let's be clear. Sam Darnold is not why we lost this football game. He damn near won the football game. And then he just couldn't quite pull it through in the end. He is now 1-1 in clutch situations. He came through in the Arizona game. He did not come through in this game. But that's kind of beside the point because to me, this is about the defense, injuries, secondary zone defense stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. I could probably, on a list of things I could run down, gosh, off the top of my head, there's like 6 things that I think people are going to go toward in terms of where to highlight the blame. Tackling on defense, like Mike McDonald's inability to try and they weren't getting any pressure on 3rd and forever, and he just would not blitz on 3rd and long, and then they would give up these long plays, and so part of it's on Coach Mike for that. You go back to an early missed field goal by Jason Myers. That would have helped out a whole lot. And I even thought in that situation, I would have been okay with Mike being a little bit of an aggressive coach and going for it on 4th and short there. It was early in the game. It's, what was it, 0-0 or 3-0?
Yeah.
They gave up an early, and so it ended up being 3-0 anyway. Well, be a little bit aggressive there. Instead, they go on the aggressive side when it was tied up late in the game. End up getting a touchdown off it. So anyway, I'm getting into things in different aspects of the game. Going back to some of the blame, Jason Myers being up there. You highlighted injuries. Gosh. The interception by Sam. Jalen Milroe deciding to run with him and taking one of your best offensive players on the field, who has been Sam Darnold, off so you could run a gadget play. Again, that it kind of highlights why that doesn't make sense. But again, that I've listed off like 6 things now.
Sure. I guess I'm just a little confused at Paint 808's comment here. Kubiak gots to go. They scored on 5 of their last 6 drives. Like the second he got done playing around with personnel, which I had heard this on the Athletic Football Show earlier in the week, and I didn't believe it was true. I didn't know. But Seahawks were last in the league in 11 personnel, and towards the top in 12 personnel, and then also towards the top in empty. And the 2 things that they've done very good all year is run stuff out of 12 and out of empty. And when they finally ditched all the 11 personnel nonsense early in the game and got to 12 personnel throughout the whole second half, it was unstoppable. And the running game got cranked up. Sam Darnold was on point. JSN had a nice game. Barner played his out of his mind. There's a lot to like about what happened offensively in this game. To me, this all goes back to the defense in not getting off the field and having massive, gaping size, Titanic size holes to throw the ball into, especially in their middle zone coverage. Like it was fucking terrible. Like I hate zone coverage so much. Like at least get to a match zone, right? Where a guy runs through your zone and then you match up with him and cover him instead of just guarding like 8 yards of empty fucking grass. Like that makes me crazy.
Well, and I think part of that does go back to that inability to get pressure on the quarterback, because when you have a team like the Bucs with the receiving options that they do, it's because once it starts stretching the field, your ability to play match zone when you're trying to cover that much ground. Like by that time, you are counting on your pressure to get to the quarterback. And because they had so little of that, that's really what was allowing those big holes to open up downfield. And I mean, yeah, you can play match, I suppose, to a point still, but it's still, you're still risking some of those big plays by, if somebody doesn't match up with their man, or if somebody gets beat by their man, then
So you guarantee that you give up a big play by literally not covering the guy. Like that's the disconnect for me. But I do believe you're right in terms of the pressure in the defense did not play complementary football between the front end and the back end of the defense. And we've talked about it a lot, chicken or the egg. Is it the pass rush or the secondary? And we decided years ago it's about pass rush, and they weren't getting home with 4. And even when they did, they get dinged with a bullshit roughing the passer call, like where Byron Murphy is like on top of another guy and like kisses Baker Mayfield with that part of his helmet, and they throw a 15-yard flag. Like, and then they called another roughing the passer call later that was
the one on Bucs. Sam that was kind of
what are we doing?
I have no idea. I like the top of the dude's helmet kind of grazed the chin strap of Sam Darnold, and they're like, "Oh, yep, that's a flag too." Not a flag is we're not sending a flag on Ryan 911, our live executive producer, coming in with a $9.99 super chat. Go Hawks! That was a crazy game. Tons of huge cheers and excitement throughout. Tons of huge cheers. And hopefully we get healthy for next week. Yeah, man. That's the big hope, because Derek Hall going down early, that had an impact on the defensive line. I was really looking forward to a big Derek Hall game. I didn't get to see that. Woolen going down to what looked like a concussion. He kind of grabbed at his helmet, which made me think concussion, and that's what I think he was on watch for. I think probably after seeing so many defensive backs go down, the idea of trading a defensive back maybe outside of our thought process now, and it was brutal once they got to that depth of the cornerback room.
Yeah, it got rough. I mean, Pritchett was a dumpster fire out there. Like it didn't look good at all, and
got beat for the touchdown on the back of the end zone.
Right.
Then got beat for the other touchdown where Shepard just like shakes him out of bounds, and he's not able to recover. So, yeah, not a good day for him.
Not a good day for him. It's time to get Shaq Griffin off the practice squad. I'm guessing that's where he was.
He was, yeah. He wasn't on the inactive list. He was on the practice squad.
Right, because I don't know how you get to Pritchett before somebody who can be at least a low tier average guy out there at corner at that point. And you talk about the injuries in the secondary piling up. Well, Reek decides to get in there and actually make a physical play for once in his fucking life. And then the second he does, oh no, I'm hurt. No, I'm off onto the sidelines. Like, dude, I'm warming up even more and more every week to just being done with that guy.
Shane Turner Acoustic coming in with a $2.99 Australian super chat. Only a W could have made that a better game. And that's part of it too. If Darnold drives down on that final drive, puts us in field goal position, they get the dub. Myers redeems himself for missing the earlier kick. Then it kind of, yes, the defensive performance after the game, we're still complaining about a horrible defensive performance, but at least then you can look it up and you can go, well, at least the team's 4-1. Instead, we're 3-2.
3-2. And we asked if this was a measuring stick game coming in. You were dubious about it. I thought maybe more so that it was. And what I got out of this is we can go toe to toe with, anybody not named the Bills right now. Like that's how I feel about it. And this game kind of confirms that, because this game was right there for the taking, and especially with some, missing pieces on defense, because you mentioned Derek Hall going out. Well, D-Law was already out, and then you're already down Love, you're already down Spoon, then you end up down Woolen, and which maybe that's a net neutral at the end of the day. Like, I just was surprised I didn't go to a lot more 3 safety stuff and just keep Pritchett off the field and just have Kendrick and Job out there. But
I thought that maybe we had worked our way into that kind of late in the game, because they did get the one stop finally in the fourth quarter, which allowed us to then the defense got the stop. Then their special teams pins us down on the 1 yard line. We go on the 99-yard drive to put the touchdown on the board. And it was at that point, because I think it was on the next drive where, because did Eamon go down to injury? Anyway, I was looking at the way that they were set up on defense, and it did look like they had then Pritchett had come off the field, and they were going with Job on one side, Kendrick on the other, and then they did have Eamon and they were going with more of that big nickel with Eamon and Bell. And so I thought at that point that they kind of had it worked out, but then on that last scoring drive, touchdown drive, Pritchett was back there on the field. So again, that's why I'm a little bit upset at our coach this week, and I'm not normally that way, but it just seemed like there was a better way to approach this. And yes, I know you don't plan for all the injuries, but we see things as fans that I think that how can this not be seen by the coaching staff in the middle of the game?
Well, the coaches are so smart, and this is every coach all around the league, right? And they know a ton about football, and they're thinking about 47 different things. But for as complicated as football is, sometimes it's just freaking simple. And when you can see that Nehemiah Pritchett is a liability, you just don't put him back on the field. You figure out something else to do. Maybe you run another linebacker out there even or something. Maybe get O'Toole or O'Connell out there. Like, just not Pritchett. Like at some point, because he was an absolute disaster. And Mike didn't adjust well in this game. They couldn't figure out how to get off the field. Giving up multiple 3rd and 10 pluses is egregious and completely unacceptable. That to me, the game was lost a lot earlier than it was late because of that. Now that's with saying that the offense is what kept us in this. And Sam Darnold had a massive game until he didn't. And, we have to give him a ton of credit for what he was able to accomplish offensively in super sharp on it. That 4th and 2 touchdown to Torrey Horton, where he gets out of a sack and keeps his eyes up downfield. That entire drive, starting at your own 1, that is big boy quarterback football. And I love it. That was fantastic for him. We're writing the narrative at that point in the game. Sam Darnold, the hero, 2 weeks in a row, coming through in the clutch. And then, unfortunately, he has the play at the end. And I saw a lot of people in the Discord say that's a bad break, bad luck, all that. Nope, that's a god-awful play. You can't throw the ball down into the guy standing dead in front of you into the top of his helmet. You can't do that. Like, it's not like he jumped. It's not like he moved into your path or anything like that. He was standing there. You threw the ball into the opposing defensive lineman's top of his helmet. That's what you did. And it ended up in an interception. It's an awful play. Awful play. And it switched the entire narrative, which is a shame because we should be talking about Sam Darnold in his amazing performance for 99% of the football game.
Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit more and to what percentage of it is, because I think unlucky is a component to it too, but also an awful play. But Samuel Gelber coming in with a $12 super chat. Samuel always coming in live. Nothing beats losing a defense optional game when your fire offense turns it over in their territory of a tie game. And that's the worst part of it too. Turning it over right into the territory to where all you have to do is line up, kick for a field goal. And because they do have a solid field goal kicker, that's it was very unfortunate. Barry, a.k.a. Van T, also coming in saying Barner arrived game. So, yeah, while we talked about kind of the dichotomy of the Sam Darnold game, there's nothing to complain about in terms of A.J. Barner. He just had an incredible game.
He was awesome. Coming out party, possibly. I'd almost argue that it was last week.
Yeah.
Look, the chemistry that Darnold and Barner are gaining here is it's pretty amazing. And watching them work out of that 12 personnel, whether it's Saubert or Arroyo being the other tight end in there, they're really tearing people up. And it really was something that helped make the running game go as well. Barner was out there blocking his butt off. And look, I mean, we saw this in the Discord from some of the little flockers, and I couldn't agree more. At this point, why are we giving Ken Walker 10 carries and Zach Charbonnet 9? What are we doing?
Yeah. I felt like they were using them maybe in, I don't know. Yeah, the only time Charbonnet should probably be getting 9 is if Ken's getting 18. But yeah, for the 10-9 split is a little bit weird. He has 10 carries, 86 yards, including a 31-yard run. Charbonnet 9 carries, 36 yards, which that's a respectable average.
Almost 4?
4 yards per carry. So,
but is it 8.6?
It's not 8.6.
Okay, because that's what Ken Walker was doing. Yeah, that's what Ken Walker was doing. 8.6.
Well, I liked Charbonnet's touchdown run down near the goal line. That was really, I think that was Abe Lucas who blocked that really opened up that touchdown for Charbonnet. That whole drive, he had his dude like just on an island stoning everybody, and it was a really good Abe Lucas drive. If you ever go back and watch the 99-yard drive and look at the right tackle, but to close it off there with a really good block. And we're talking about running backs here, but receivers. I mean, we talked about AJ Barner, 7 catches on all 7 of his targets, so he caught everything going his way, 53 yards. And also have a super chat here from JR, who came in at my pop's house. So we'll need to listen to this later. Props for talking it out for the flock after an L. JR, it's tough, especially when you're emotional. As an emotional person, Adam, to be able to compartmentalize it. Does this help you after a game, like to be able to get it all out? Or is it the last thing that you want to do and you just want to like go out in the woods and chop down a tree?
Yes. And I'm likely to cut up some firewood after we're done with this show, honestly, just because it's that time of year and it needs to get done. And I haven't done jack shit today. So it's probably about time. But with that said, no, I'm going to be more frustrated with this later on in the week when you see a game that's right there, another home game that you let slip away that you had every opportunity to win. And also to have the strength of your football team be the part that lets you down this week. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, because the last game I remember like this defensively was the game against the Bills, but it was also Josh Allen and the Bills, and also you only scored 10 points on offense, and so it didn't feel like there was much. You could at least put it somewhat on the offense, like, well, you didn't score any points, so it wouldn't have really mattered anyway. And then I think the other just terrible defensive performance that they put up was against the Detroit Lions, but that was early in the year last year. So you don't see a whole lot of defensive games like this that frustrate you. But Carly Perkins coming in, $10 super chat. This game was so close to being an amazing win despite the awful defense. Hope Mike can figure out the D and the injuries aren't too bad. But that Horton touchdown throw was a thing of beauty by Sam Darnold.
Sam had himself a day and was looking pretty good. He got bailed out a few times in this game. I mean, the tip pass that gets completed to Cup down on your own, like that is dumb fucking luck right there.
I don't know if you want to call it a tipped pass. It was a ball that went through the hands of the defender at the 1 yard line. That was nearly a disaster.
Yeah, and then he had a bomb the JSN on a kind of like an over route. I think it was in the second half, and thank goodness for JSN.
Oh no! Are you thinking of the JSN bomb? Because that was an incredible catch by JSN. I was thinking of the arm punt that went to Derek Young, where Young like boxed out the defender and like caught it over his shoulder, and that was the one I was more worried about of Sam throwing a pick on that one.
All those were freaking touch and go, man. They were all touch and go, but fortunately, the pass catchers as a whole, whether it's Horton or even I expected Kupp to have a fair amount of catches this game just because of the way that you could attack this defense with their second level of defense not being great in coverage. But yeah, they've all done pretty well this year so far. JSN's obviously been amazing. Kupp, he has his ups and downs. Today was more of an up, and that's nice. AJ Barner has just evolved into, I'm going to say, a top 5 tight end in this league. I mean, if you can find me 6 that are better, I'll kiss you right on the mouth. Like, I just don't think you're gonna. And Torrey Horton's been a revelation. I mean, three catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown in this game. Derek Young and his returns this week were fantastic. They've really set up the offense to to get going. And there's a lot to be excited about on that side of the football. I think the only thing that we're really not excited about when we look back at this game is let's stop breaking the rhythm of the offense and doing the Milroe package. Like,
Yeah.
I hated this when it was suggested in the offseason. I hated it when they did it early on, and I hated it again today before the ball was even snapped, and I hated it more after you take a guy who hasn't played in 3 weeks and throw him in there to run a pitch play at full speed and for the first time in 3 weeks and go, oh, I can't believe he miscued. Like, what are we doing?
I want to explain why I think it's happening, but before I go there, and while you think about someone to potentially kiss on the mouth if you have to, with regard to finding tight ends.
They got to find better tight ends. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the person to do it, though, would be Northwest Gambit, because happy 2-year anniversary to Northwest Gambit. 2 years, bummed it was an L, still go Hawks. With the Jalen Milroe thing, I think I understand maybe why they're doing it, in that it's a young quarterback who they see putting in a lot of work. If this is the reason why. You have a young quarterback, you're asking him to put in a lot of work. He's doing everything that you asked throughout the week. Here's your reward. Your reward is you get out there on the field, and you get to be on the field for a play. I think the thing that's frustrating, though, is that and the reason why we were advocates of not doing this is that your hope is that your quarterback is going to be the best player on the field. For the idea of taking your best player off the field and putting in another player on the field who is not your best player doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So if there's another way to get him out and on the field that's not at the quarterback spot, but then at the same, it just, talking through it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I think it is that idea of, here's a cookie for doing all your things throughout the week.
Okay. I don't know. I thought Gen Z were a lot tougher than millennials, and I didn't think you would need that sort of thing. Do the work. Be QB3. Nobody cares. You're QB3. Nobody cares. And
Right.
That's the way it should be. Why on earth, especially when Sam was red hot in this game, do you take your quarterback off the field in a critical moment to bring in a guy who hasn't played in 3 weeks? I just, it's baffling to me. Never do it again. I'm sick of this nonsense. No more.
Yeah. And Shane Turner Acoustic saying the reward disrupts the flow of a successful offense. And that's what it's done every time. Every time that they've marched out this Milroe package play, it seems completely out of place. So I know. I'm sorry if you don't like the logic, Carly, but I'm trying to think, because people are asking why you would even do it. And so just to think through it logically of why you would do it, that's the only thing that I can come up with.
Because Clinton thought it was a great idea all offseason.
Right. But they wouldn't do it if a player wasn't like putting in the work, I feel like,
Sure.
on the back end. And so I think if I'm trying to put on my rose-colored glasses, it's an optimistic view of they're seeing everything that they need from Milroe to say, hey, what you're doing off of the field throughout the week is worthy of getting a play. But unfortunately, I don't like the result. Will Fries with the $9.99 super chat. This felt like the football version of last night's Mariners game. I can't handle this constant disappointment. Adam, to break it down for you, it was a very disappointing Mariners game last night. They needed to get the win against backup Tigers pitching. They go into extra innings. They lose the game. And yes, so disappointing 2 days. Fortunately, we have a Mariners game that's going to be starting here pretty soon. And we're only going up against maybe one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, so it'll be fine.
If you say so. Hooray, Mariners, or not, I don't know. Whatever. If you guys are into it, great. Like, let's go. Like, cool. Here's the thumbs up. There's the camera.
There it is.
Yeah.
Kale Lively. Also, Catfish Perna and his curse wheel landing on the Seahawks this week, and it seems like it was very effective at cursing us.
The record of the curse wheel is it's formidable.
That's what it is.
It got us this week.
In some ways, like, I feel like we can't knock curses as Seahawks fans, because we did curse Perna and his Broncos like really hard for like an entire year.
Season. Yeah, I put that bad juju on him. So, like, I mean, hey, that's twice now, I think, since that he's got us with the curse wheel.
Yeah.
I think one more and we're even.
Is it? And if it ends up going more than one, then what do we get to do? We go back toward cursing the Broncos again
to Denver,
for like no
I'm
reason?
I'm gonna find him, and we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah.
Over coffee, and it'll be delightful.
Oh, Marlon in the chat saying that the Wheels record is now 4-1. So
this
maybe
year.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was against the Seahawks.
Oh, maybe against Seahawks. I don't know, but I was gonna say over the years it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been really strong. All right. Well, looking at defensive performance, 379 yards by Baker Mayfield. He was 29 of 33, so above his usual 60% completion. We stopped their run game, Adam. Rashad White, 14 carries, 41 yards. So if you're looking for any kind of positivity on the defensive side, hey, we stopped their run game. How about that?
Look, that's not to be poo-pooed. Like, if you can consistently do that week in and week out, you give yourself chances to win football games. We gave ourselves a chance to win this football game. Now, was it beautiful in terms of pass defense and pressure on the passer? Nope. It was god-awful. It was god-awful. I think the thing about getting pressure on Baker in this game that was so perplexing was a lot of the time you didn't see them just consistently attack the right side of the Bucs offensive line. Like, why not? All right, so you didn't win once, do it again. You didn't win twice, do it again. You didn't win the third time, do it again. You're going to have better odds than on the left side with Tristan Wirfs and running your games and blitzes out on that side, or trying to come up the middle on Barton, who's a good center. Like, let's go. Like, let's target the weak link.
And that's the thing that surprised me the most about the game, is that they weren't able to get home targeting that side of the line. And again, it goes back to, I think they had one successful blitz, at least that stands out in my mind from coming from the right side. And seems like they could have done it more. And then, gosh, Igbuka, beating you all day long, 7 catches on 7 targets, 163 yards. Cade Otton, 4 catches, 81 yards. Between those two guys, like, I could deal with all the other catches of minimal yardage to the rest of the receivers on the crew. But yeah, for as many big plays that they gave up to Igbuka and Otton, holy smokes.
Yeah, it was tough. And maybe that's an adjustment from the first half in terms of really where the Seahawks were getting killed overall in pass defense was with screens and swings out of the backfield. And maybe you play a little bit more up on that. It increases the space behind the linebackers, and then you attack there. Because that's where it was happening, was in between the second and third level of the defense.
Yeah. All right. Well, I picked out the one positive that I could with regard to the defensive performance. Is there anything else that I missed that you could say was maybe positive out there?
Yeah, Eamon Warren went out there, and I think he played good football for a rookie in really his first full game of action, and that's a good thing. That's going to help out going down the stretch.
Ernest Jones had a play where he absolutely stoned and took a soul of one of the Bucs players. That was pretty fun. Stu Lowe, we saw this a couple times throughout the game. Here's my question: how do you have an illegal man downfield call on a forward pass? The way that no offensive lineman or ineligible receiver, so which tends to just be those 5 offensive linemen. Sometimes it's a 6th offensive lineman if he doesn't report as eligible. But if you have, for example, Jalen Sundell, if you have a play that you tend to see this more on plays where there's an option to run and an option to pass. But if the center gets more than a yard or two from the line of scrimmage before the pass is thrown, it's an illegal man downfield. And what it does, the reason why it's a penalty, it's because I guess they feel like it would be confusing for the defense to think that here's a man going downfield that they would have to cover on a pass play. And so they just say that that's a penalty because you can't have those guys running downfield and confusing the defense in that way.
This is one of my least favorite penalties in all of football. That and the cover up the guy on the end of the line.
The illegal formation one,
which still never makes sense to me. I don't care. I don't see how this makes a difference. This just seems like some paper pusher with autism, like looking at me like, but you have to have the guy right on the end of the line. Like, who gives
and
a crap?
he can't be one step back or one step
Not
forward.
One step
if there's
forward,
another guy who's
right
one
there.
step, he's got to
If
be
he's
right
not covering
there.
the ball, then we got a problem. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't care. What I do care about is how in the world do you not call an illegal man downfield when you have an illegal man downfield on the Otten play late in the game when the center was clearly down, 3-4 yards down the field.
And they threw a flag.
And they threw the flag, and then they picked it up. Like, that's what I want to know. Now, I'm not saying that's why we lost the game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not blaming penalties in this game, but that was a head scratcher.
So yeah, and the other part of it too is that you wouldn't want to have on a passing play. It would give the offense an advantage if you send a lineman downfield and can already block downfield before there's a pass catcher in the way. So it's kind of that's another reason why it's illegal.
I just want to go back to the way that they called it in years past. Like, this has become a point of emphasis.
Oh yeah. To where if a guy's downfield like an extra yard or two, like who cares?
Who gives a crap? Gosh, you just rules because rules.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, what is the intent of this? And that's the type of stuff that drives me bonkers. But
all right. Well, it's not a game necessarily that's worth complaining about the officiating because it was played so poorly on defense, tackled so poorly on defense.
Especially in the first half, man.
Oh my gosh, the tackling in the first half. At least that part improved somewhat in the second half. It still wasn't great.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to give a shout out to the 237 people live with us here after a tough loss. If you think the Hawks are going to bounce back next week, go ahead and hit the like button real quick. I think it's going to help with all of our Hawkers, and it's going to make things better for the team going forward. So if you could do that, that'd be amazing. What's Shane got?
We need it going forward, too. Shane Turner Acoustic coming in saying, anyone going to mention the play clock expiring on the punt on the one? That's why Mike McDonald was losing it.
Yep. And another one of those things where it gets officiated very loosely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the play clock has always been that way. It's like, why even have it? Like, if it goes to 0 and then you've got a full beat after that to snap the ball, then why even have the clock?
Right. And if you're going to allow for an extra second, then put 26 seconds on the play clock and then officiate it right as it hits 0 rather than going 0 and then a beat to where it gives it an extra second anyway.
Yeah. I don't get it, but that's what they do.
We don't need a shot clock like basketball, though. I don't need some noise going off as it gets to 0. That seems silly. Like, just watch the clock, and when it hits 0, if they haven't snapped it, then throw a penalty. No, Clinton, don't do what the NBA has done. You don't need a buzzer on the field. Just call it.
I don't think he's a proponent of the buzzer. I think it's more just like when it's at 0, then it's at 0. You're out of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes all the sense because that's what the 0 means.
Using
it means you've run out of time.
For what a clock's used for. Yeah, that's the thing. But
all right. Well, yes, hit the like button because, we need that win, especially going on the road. We need to continue this win streak as we go on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also important is, now that Jacksonville, they got the win over the stupid Niners. And so if we beat the Jaguars, then if we end up in a tie situation with the Niners, like that would actually help us out, is having a win over the Jags. Plus, it's the Jags. Like, that's a team you just have to beat.
Yeah, you have to beat. But that's what makes this loss extra infuriating is you barely lose to the Niners at home. Probably shouldn't have because of a Sam fumble, which wasn't his fault. Abe lost the rep. His butt caused the fumble.
Yeah.
And then you end up losing this game against your next playoff contending team in the Bucs in a heartbreaker with an awful interception, with an awful defensive performance. This could be one of those losses that really comes back to haunt you. Like with a Tampa team that who knows between them and the Falcons who end up being their wild card candidate out of the NFC South. And so looking forward, this is one that you needed to have. And then on top of all of that, in terms of confidence and getting things rolling and all of that, especially for us fans, after this loss, you're not going to hear any more Seattle talk for a long time. in the national media. We'll be written off as a pretender, even if the Hawks get things figured out going over the next 3-4 weeks, especially with their pass defense, and maybe get a little healthier.
I did see Saban Scent Studios comment here. We should have a play clock whistle or something other than the refs call it when they feel like. Here's the solution that would fix all this. Make it a challengeable play so that if they go in, they can look at the clock. Has the ball been snapped yet? And if it hasn't, then you win the challenge and it's a penalty. Like, just make it a challengeable play, and it's that easy.
Oh, I don't know. Then at that point, it might not be clear and conclusive at some point and all that nonsense, too.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to go through a forever long review, because even the instant reviews they've been trying with all that stuff is just like, why? Like,
don't make this harder than it has to be. Just I came up with the solution.
All I know, the solution is simple. When the clock is 0 and they haven't snapped the ball, throw the flag. Like, and then we're done. But if they snap the ball before it hits 0, then don't throw the flag. Like, that seems it's crazy. But that's a very simple solution.
The Cardinals lose to the Titans. They fall to 2-3. They're the only team in the division now with a losing record, as the Seahawks are tied with the Rams. You got the Niners up in first place after their win over the Rams. So if there's anything that we can take away at the end of this, is that thank goodness for a Cardinals loss, and we can feel a little bit happier that now they're in the cellar of the division.
Yeah, I mean, Cardinals tears taste good, but not as good as 49ers tears or Rams tears, that's for sure.
That's true. Dan J with a comment. It's 1 a.m. My heart rate finally calmed down. It's nice to see you guys vent after a frustrating loss. Thanks for justifying some of my rants at the TV. Cheers, guys. Go Hawks. Thanks, Dan J. You know, one of our YouTube members as well, Dan. And a big thanks for that. Yeah, that's another reason why this is, not only is it helpful for us, like we can get our venting out live, but then we can also see the comments. And it's like, hey, we're all in this together. We're all feeling the same way, right?
All feeling the feels, all feeling the L, all frustrated that a unit that had been playing lights out football really laid an egg in. Frustrated that we can't sit here and celebrate Sam in the way that I was hoping to after, 59 minutes of football.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was trending that way for sure. Shane Turner Acoustic coming back in 8 with the Australian 299. Thanks for the show, Legends, plus Clinton out in the back. So yes, a big thanks to Shane Turner Acoustic. A big thanks to Ryan 911 who came in with the super chat. Barry, aka Van T, came in with a super chat as well. Samuel Gelber coming in with the super chat. JR, Carly Perkins, a big thanks to you. And Northwest Gambit, a member for 24 months, as well as Will Fries. Is this the Will Fries that we didn't sign in the offseason that's been having a terrible season so far? I'm glad that Will is donating to our show.
He has not been having a terrible season. The entire line around him has gotten injured. Like, that's slander, and I won't stand for it, because if we're going to talk about, like, somebody who could play right guard and compare, I don't know, our right guard to current Will Fries on the Vikings, I'll let you take a pick as to which one might be playing actually terrible. Which one is that, Brandon?
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.